Hey everyone, today we're going to be answering the question of what is a CME gap? Now you might have seen on Twitter, people talking about CME gap here, CME gap there, CME gap everywhere. But what is a CME gap and how does it happen? But before we do that, I'm going to take a look at the regular Bitcoin chart. And I'm just on the daily here, Bitcoin USD on Bitstamp, nothing out of the ordinary here. Let's go to the 1 hour. Yep, nothing out of the ordinary here. Now what I'm going to do is just click up here to change the ticker symbol to BTC1, and we can see I got an option here, Bitcoin futures, and that's on the CME exchange. So let's open this up and we can see, oh, what the heck? There's a gap here. And if we keep going back, probably find some more. Here we go. Here's another gap here and another gap here. Now I could probably show you many more examples, but what I'm going to do is just zoom in right around here. All right, so pretty obvious gap here. Price closed here, but opened up here. Well, how did that happen? Now, if we look down at the bottom, I'll just go back a little. We can see Saturday, 23 March, 2024, 1 AM. And I'll go to the next one, Saturday, 23rd of March, 2024, 2 AM. And I'll keep going. I think you get the idea. 5, 6, 7, still Saturday, the 23rd of March, 7 AM. And next candle, whoa, Monday, 25th of March. How'd that happen? Well, this is something that's going to happen in the regular stonk market as well. So let's just go to Apple. You can see Apple stock, NASDAQ. We all know what Apple is. And we can see, hey, there's a whole lot more gaps here. Why does that happen? Well, the main difference here is basically news and exchange open times. So we can see, if we just zoom into this a little bit here, the time between this candle and this candle, you can see Saturday, 7:30 AM and Wednesday, 1:30 AM. So we can basically assume the stock market was closed between these two times. Now, going back to BTC1, I'll go CME futures. Well, that might explain this. We got Saturday 6, 7, and Monday 9 AM. Now keep in mind, this is in Australian time, so the hours might be different for you. But nonetheless, there is a gap here. Now, going back to the Apple chart, we can see we've got gaps here, and this is usually based off news. So obviously news drives the stock market, but with Bitcoin, there isn't really much news going on. It kind of just keeps chugging along. And back to Bitcoin USD on Bitstamp, it just keeps going up and down. So what I'll do to make this more obvious is I'll just get a double chart here. And for this one, I'll get BTC1, Bitcoin CME futures, and I'll just put it on the 1 hour. Let's turn these off, close this, there we go. And I'll zoom in just a little, and let's zoom in over here as well. And we can see as I move my cursor around, it moves on both screens. So if I start over on the left hand side, slowly move it over, and I'm still able to move it around here, but it's not moving on the left hand side. That's because Bitcoin is trading over here on crypto exchanges 24/7. But over on this side, there's a big gap between when the exchange is closed and when it opens. So if we just take a little box here, we can see basically closes right here and opens up right around here. So Bitcoin in this time basically shot up, and back down and opened here. And that's where you can see it opened here and then went on a tear. But what's this about Bitcoin filling the CME gap? Well, if we go back to the single view chart, here we go, and go back to BTC1, Bitcoin CME futures, here we go. So we've got a gap just here. Now, what people say is it'll go up, it could keep going up, but what usually happens is it comes back down. Now, it doesn't always fully fill it, but if we keep zooming out enough, hey, maybe Bitcoin might come down to 64K and fill the rest of this, but who knows? So I'm going to keep going back to find a bit better example. All right, cool. So coming back to the 4th of December, 2023, we've got a nice little gap here. But hey, it didn't fill it. We can see it just got close, but didn't even touch it. Well, if we go back out enough and make the box bigger, hey, what do you know? It filled it and came right back up. If we keep going back in time, probably find some more of these. Here we go, here's one to the downside. So gap right here, and doesn't fill it, tries to come up, oh, and fills it right here. Big gap here, and hey, what do you know? It eventually fills it over time. Now, why do people care about this? Well, when Bitcoin started trading on the CME futures, it was kind of a big deal. It was pretty much right at the 2017 peak, right over here. And that basically marked the top of the 2017 run, and came right back down here. And over time, people started noticing there were these gaps, and they usually got filled. And then once enough people start believing something will happen, well, the rest of the market usually catches on. And that's when you see things like this on Twitter, saying, oh my god, there's a CME gap, And if enough people believe a price will come down to a certain spot, usually they're not going to buy until that certain spot. And then the theory just magically keeps coming true almost every time. Now I've just got Blockworks up here for a more official explanation. And they say a CME gap for Bitcoin refers to a price discrepancy that occurs on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME, Bitcoin futures chart between the closing price of one trading day and the opening price of the next day. Pretty simple. And they give good arguments for both sides just below here, and they say some believe that gaps on the CME chart can act as significant support or resistance levels, as price typically tends to fill the gap at a future date, and others say it's simply a phenomenon with no real predictive value. But hey, that's just what a few people on the internet think. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you want me to do a video on anything else in the future.